You're listening to Ask Dr. Jake. My name is Dr. Jake Tucker, owner and founder of Good Life Family Chiropractic here on the south side of Lincoln. And I'm coming to you today with another message of health, hope, and wholeness. And today I wanted to share a little bit about, again, why I become a chiropractor, because honestly, that's the biggest question I get asked. I'm coming against this world's mindset on health and sickness and turning it into a discussion not about what disease you have or what diagnosis you can get or what drug or treatment option you can get on. But I come at it from a perspective of what true health is, what God intended for us, and how our bodies are healing and functioning. And really, that's how chiropractic got its start. You talk about an amazing story that almost happens just by providence being the Holy Spirit, but a janitor in Davenport, Iowa, happened to go into the doctor whose office he worked in, Harvey Lillard. The doctor's name was D.D. Palmer. He had his physical exam. D.D. Palmer felt a vertebra in his neck misaligned significantly, such that he said, Redneck's famous last words here, let me try this. He shoved the vertebra back into place, and immediately Harvey said he heard horses in the street for the first time. Within 3 adjustments, his hearing was completely restored. And so Dee and his son BJ, they spent the next 16 years doing intense research to try to figure out how adjusting the spine could not only help with hearing, but also help with the healing process as well. And over that time, they thought they'd found a panacea, a cure-all for just about everything, because they were seeing people, cancer and tumors falling off, their heart disease going away, that these death prognoses, just really bad outcomes just going away, people's health being restored. And so they thought they had found the key to being healthy. And what they did is they actually uncovered more of a way of thinking that focuses on life, that focuses on health. And that's what I try to focus on with every single one of my patients, is what are the keys to getting you healthy? And we call those keys the 5 essentials. So essential number 1, that's your mindset, knowing what health is. When you think the way that most Americans think, and you do the things that most Americans do, you're going to end up with the same results that most Americans get. And here in the United States, what that ends up being is a lifestyle of sickness and disease and debt and medical debt. Really, when you look at our healthcare system, it's the number 1 cause of bankruptcy in the United States. It's the most expensive healthcare system in the world. We spend more money on drugs, more money on surgeries, more money on our facilities and usage. We have the best doctors in the world. We have the best facilities. We have the best access to those facilities. Legally, you can't get turned away from your medical care. When you show up at the emergency room, you have to be treated. But where's that getting us? Well, when you look at this World Health Organization report from last year, what we find is that our healthcare system and our health overall are among the worst of the industrialized nations. And really, 72nd overall out of 37 industrialized nations, we are dead last. Out of 13 industrialized nations, we're dead last. Out of 3 industrialized nations, we're dead last. Whatever the measure, whatever the group is of countries that you're looking at, our system performs the worst. And it actually starts with the way that we think about health. If we think about health in the way that most Americans do, as the presence or absence of symptoms, then you're going to end up that same place, stuck in that same system that's sucking you dry of your money and not actually giving you health. Because what do we do when we enter this healthcare system? You do just like most people do, just like we did with Zeke. When there's a symptom, you go to the doctor. The doctor runs some tests, and let me tell you, all we did at St. E's and at Children's in Omaha was spend money on testing. And just that testing alone, and yes, we did every test because he was having seizures. And we wanted to see if we could identify anything beyond what I was capable of diagnosing on my own as being a cause for his problem. But in spite of those tests, those best tests, and we had the best access to the best specialists, we found 0 cause for his seizures outside of what I found as a chiropractor. His atlas had been shoved over to the side because he rolled off the bed that morning. His mom caught him by the head. He didn't hit his head, but just that head and neck torsion and twisting. It popped the top bone in his neck out to the side. And just to reinforce that, his sister didn't want to put pants on. She was kicking her legs, and she kicked him in the head at the exact same time. And so I came in and I adjusted that. And, he went from a seizure state where he was hardly breathing, gasping for breath, desperate, to a relaxed state where he was ready to eat and he wanted to nurse and he fell right asleep. And then from then on, we haven't had a health problem since. We went through children's, we went through EEG testing, we went through MRI, CT scan, we did chest x-rays to be sure their spinal tap, we did blood testing. Everything came back that he was as healthy a baby as they had ever seen, in spite of having those seizures and breathing issues, in spite of quitting breathing in daycare and making them call the emergency room and do 2 rounds of rescue breathing. It was the chiropractic analysis and adjustment that found the cause of the problem and corrected it. And so I don't care if you're dealing with headaches, neck pain, back pain. Absolutely, I do care about you, but it doesn't matter your symptom. We have to find the cause of that symptom and then start to enact that level of function again for you. Start getting to the cause of the problem. And that's usually going to come through a chiropractic adjustment. And so that's number 2. What is the real definition of health? Well, health is a state of 100% optimal function and healing across mental, emotional, and physical components. I also like to throw in spiritual, but the World Health Organization does not include that. I do, because I was a pastor, and I know that if you're not connected with God, if you're not connected with the Creator, then your overall health is going to suffer. And so when we redefine that definition of health the right way, then we start to see that we can get to the cause a whole lot easier. But if you go back to that old definition of health, waiting until you feel it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Heart disease, if you wait till you feel it, you're waiting until you've had a heart attack 63% of the time. And the survival rate for a heart attack, best in the world here in the US, we have the best emergency care out of any other system. It's still just a 50% survival rate. If you wait till you feel heart disease, if you wait till you feel cancer, it's 10 years too late. You've had it for 20 years, and then it starts to create a symptom. And so even by our best tests, it still takes cancer growing 8 years inside your body. And so we're setting ourselves up for failure if it's considered lethal at 10 years. This is why cancer is growing as expected to be the number 1 cause of death this year. If you want to avoid those things, stop basing your health on how you feel. Start basing your health on your function, your overall function, the ability of your body to heal. Do you bounce back quickly? Do you recover from stresses? Because it's all about being that bouncing punching bag. Get hit in the nose and then bounce right back up. You get under stress, but you bounce right back up. The ability of your body to handle stress and bounce back to normal, healthy function and healing. That's the key to health. What controls that is your central nervous system. So when you talk about the nervous system, you have to talk about what protects it as well. We view the spine and the skull as just bones, but really they are integral to the function of your brain. When the spine is in proper alignment, straight up and down from the front with 3 45-degree curves from the side, then your brain can heal and function at 100%. But if that gets out of alignment and gets stuck there for even 2 minutes or more, that can restrict the amount of function going through that neural pathway by as much as 60%. We actually see a decrease in brain function on an EEG when you have your spine that's locked up. And so whether that's through degenerative arthritis because of years of misuse and abuse, or if that's because you were in a car accident and things just got stuck out of position because of the whiplash type trauma you were in, or you got hurt at work, or whatever the case is, if you have a vertebra that's stuck out of alignment, it needs to start to move again, or else your brain's going to misfire. And that's the biggest thing that we see with chiropractic, is that brains function better when the spine moves. And so that's what we do here. We focus on getting and restoring not just the biomechanics, but the posture of the spine. I'm a structural correction specialist here. Basically, I do it at a non-surgical level, what a surgeon's doing, but he usually has to rely on tools that fuse your spine together and keep you from being able to move the way that God designed you to move. When those vertebrae are in proper alignment, we see that you live 20 years longer on average than someone who's lost even 50% of the curve of their neck. That's just incredible. And so if you haven't had your spine analyzed, I would start there. Start with the spinal analysis by a chiropractor such as myself, and sit down, go through your history, go through those levels of dysfunction, and we'll begin to find a way, find a path back to normal function, making sure that your central nervous system is healing and functioning at 100%. That's the key place to start. That's what saved my life. That's what saved my son's life. That saved my nieces and my nephews. I've had multiple family members quit breathing as infants, and a chiropractor intervened to save their life because he was the first person on the scene. They didn't have to get on drugs. They didn't have to go through surgeries. They didn't have to spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on their health care. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to find the cause. So for the first 5 callers today, you're getting a 50% discount off of the exam, off of any necessary x-rays, off any services that happen in our office the first day. Normally that'd be over $130. Today, that would be about $65 if you set up an appointment for this week. The number to call, 531-289-7100. You can also go to our website, goodlifefamilychiropractic.com, and ask for a free virtual consultation. We'll help you get that scheduled. And once we get that on the schedule, then I'll sit down with you. I'll have about a 15-minute conversation and we can talk about what's going on and what steps you need to take. The next step in making sure that your body is healing and functioning well, the next step towards health is actually giving your intelligence inside your nervous system, the same intelligence that created you out of 2 cells, that formed you out of a sperm and the egg, and then duplicated and replicated itself 36 trillion times. It needs no help, just no interference, but it does need building blocks. And those building blocks come through the nutrients we put in our body and are inhibited by the anti-nutrients that we put in our body. Things that create inflammation inhibit the ability of the body to heal. And so getting the right nutrients, God's food, the whole foods that he created, get those in. The artificial, the processed foods, the foods that come wrapped in plastic or in a cardboard box, those are the foods that are most likely are going to be inhibiting your body's ability to heal and function. The number 4 key to being healthy is moving properly, moving so that your body gets oxygen. Every cell, tissue, and organ in your body requires oxygen to function. But if you don't move, if you don't ever break a sweat, then your body is going to suffer to get that oxygen in there. And then the last key is the principle of toxicity. Your body can handle toxins. And it does. You know, your digestive system, your urinary system, your skin, it all is part of this detoxification system. Your liver, your kidneys, they're basically holes at the bottom of the bucket where toxins drain out of. But if you pour more toxins into the bucket than the holes can drain, then those toxins will spill out the top of the bucket eventually in the form of symptoms. They'll inhibit the ability of the body to heal. They'll inhibit the ability of the body to function. And you'll see things like Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's disease and cancer and diabetes because of the inhibitions in the healing process created by toxins in your body. And so we go through and we take you through the principles of detox here in the office, but this is all one step at a time. The first step that everyone needs to take is the most important one. It's the first step. If you never take that first step, then you'll never begin the process of healing. So I encourage you to take that first step, pick up the phone, call our office, 531-289-7100. We're standing by to take your call and set you up with that consultation in our office. The 50% discount off of exam, imaging, any necessary x-rays, all for just $65. If we do an adjustment on your first visit, that will also be a 50% discount, just $30 for that. So call our office, pick up the phone, 531-289-7100. I'm Dr. Jake. We'll see you again on Monday for another episode of Ask Dr. Jake.